Um, but I got a new agent, and he was like, "Look, after that, the team that he had, the coach had one more year left, but nobody wanted to come back. Like all the veterans left. I left, the other Travis left, went to Holland, other K, like the other players left, and we all just went, we wasn't coming back. We was kind of tired of the tyrant, and he was a tyrant. So it was a situation where, you know, everybody went separate places. I went with Holland. I went with my boy Vamo, and we went to where we go to Estonia, and I was like, you know what? Um, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Me and Vamo was like, man, come with me, man, to Estonia because I was looking for place. I was actually gonna go in Holland to another team, and the coach was like, you can't break us, Travis. We can afford you. We can afford whoever we want. You know. Um, and I don't know if maybe Leon thought I was gonna take his shine, but maybe I don't know. Like I said, I just think that I didn't end up not doing it, obviously, and I don't think it would have been fair if we all would have joined on the one team, but we didn't. So it was a situation where we played. Like I said, like I left, and like I said, and I signed in Estonia very late, and super happy though. Like I went to Estonia. It took me a little while to kind of get used to the situation, but Valmo got me. My boy Valmo Cleesa got me to acclimated, and so once I got acclimated, I was okay. And like I said, once I got acclimated, I was okay. And I started really like in the beginning, I struggled. The first month, I was kind of like averaging about 13, 14 points a game. I really wasn't killing. I was doing okay, you know. But then once Vaughn got me rolling, and then I started really rolling, and it all started with one game. We played this team, BC Kiev, in the ULO Cup or FIBA Cup, and they were a team from Ukraine, so they had a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? They had great players. And one player that actually got drafted went to the NBA the next year. Big tall dude, 7 foot center. So it was a situation where, you know, I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And, we'll see what happens. And yeah, um, that was probably my overall best game on my whole career in Europe because I had 40 points or 10 rebounds or whatever. I played the whole game and something like that. So like I have like the fifth greatest scoring thing in all of the FIBA Cup, fifth highest scoring single game, still up there to this day. So yeah, it was one of those like big ass games. I was like, yeah, yeah. And so I remember we won, and then like that would kind of blew me up. We beat them, and I was like, okay, well now we rolling. Now I start rolling. And my teammates kind of like, okay, well he can hoop. He can really hoop. Okay. My teammates start trusting me more, and just I started really killing. And then we played that same team in Kiev, in Ukraine again, and it was like Travis ain't gonna do that to us again. Not over here in Kiev, and he's not gonna score like that. He's not that good of yet just yipping and yapping. Okay, so we went to there. We went to Kiev, and I did it again. I had like 35 points, like 10 rebounds, and we ended up beating them in Kiev, and then going to uh, the next round, of the FIBA Cup, which meant a lot because that was like that means sponsors and all that publicity for the team. This little team from Estonia made it to the next round. It was big. It was super big for us. And it was like, dang, y'all beat this team from Kiev twice, and y'all made it to the next round. So the next round of the FIBA Cup, we wasn't winning that one. We played against like Bologna from Italy. They beat us, and then we played against. I played against Marcus All right before he got drafted by the Lakers in Spain. He was in Spain making a gang of money, and yeah, like I said, he was humongous, humongous, huge. He was such a cool dude. But like, yeah, it was like really would talk. Hey man, good move. This, that. When you do this, though, he was trying to tell. He was telling me. He was helping me while I was playing against him. It was funny. So he was like, yeah, man, when you make that move, spin back, shoot off the lane, shoot like that. I won't be able to get to that. I'm like, all right. So anyway, that year was just a hell of a year for me. Not gonna lie, it was crazy. Like they went through a lot of Americans that year, besides myself. But like that year, I was MVP of the Estonian League, but I was MVP of the Baltic League, which is Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Because my stats was kind of crazy. I was like leading the league in rebounding, or second in rebound, leading the league in scoring. Leading the league in field goal percentage. Yeah, so they gave me the MVP of the Baltic League. Which was crazy. I thought they would give it to this other guy, who basically they had the best team, in the league. They were from Zalgiris and they was playing in the Euro League. And so like we had to play them a couple times, but like yeah, it was a situation where I thought we was gonna play. I thought we were gonna play. Like they was gonna give it to him because he was the best player on the best team, but they didn't. They gave it to me. I was kind of shocked. They gave me MVP and top scorer. So like yeah, it was a situation where I was like, man, this is crazy. Like they gave me that. He gave me MVP of the Estonian League, MVP of the Baltic League. I was a Baltic League All Star. I went to the playing the dunk contest, but and I also Baltic League All Star. I played in the Baltic League All Star game, which was real cool. I didn't really do too much. I didn't play that much. I came in, scored a couple points, got blocked once because coach shut me out. So I was like, whatever. I'm here. I just doing this All Star game just to hoop in it. Was in the dunk contest, lost, but I really wasn't tripping. Um, I was the big one for me was I was a FIBA Cup All Star. And FIBA Cup All Star, you had to get voted on. You know, so I got voted on. Because I was dealing with my child's mother at the time, my son's mom, and she helped everybody vote for me and all that stuff. And so I got voted on, um, and I made it. And like I said, I made it. I was happy because like I had to go to Cyprus. If you was an All Star, like I actually had to leave the team and go to Cyprus for this All Star game. And you actually got paid like I don't know, it was like 4,000 euros just to participate in the game. Just to participate. It was like 4,000 euros or whatever it was. My boy Curtis Millich was there from the block, and shout out to my boy Curtis. He was an All Star too. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was so many people there, so many dudes. It was crazy. It was straight up crazy. I had a blast. We only stayed there for like a night or two. No, not even two. Just we flew in late, spent the night, woke up, went to like hotel, tried to get some sleep before the game, got up, went to the game, hooped, and then flew out. Flew out that night. So yeah, flew out that way. We stayed in like, in Prague, they have like a Hilton inside the hotel. I mean inside the airport. So like we got one of those rooms, like those 4 hour rooms or whatever. Because of our flights, we had like long flights, layovers stuff. Like so, yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, I had a blast. Being like I said, the FIBA Cup All Star is another level. It's like a real All Star game. They had like interviews and just like had all this other stuff, entertainment. It was all kind of crazy stuff. So it was cool. Like I said, it was real cool. Um, like I said, the Baltic League All Star game was just like you go to the game, you play, you leave. It wasn't nothing. You know. but that year was just a great, tremendous year for me statistically. I would say my MVP year in Holland was a great year because I won the MVP of the league and won the championship. But statistically and all that, but my best year over in Europe was that year because I was so motivated. I was really motivated to prove my old coach wrong. He was talking shit about me, saying I wasn't this, I wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay, you don't think so? All right, I'm about to show you. And I remember that. I remember that because it was like that year was like Game's second album, Doctor's Advocate came out. And he was trying to prove that he could do it without G Unit, without 50, without Dre and all that. And I was like, all right, I'm just like Game. I'm about to prove him wrong, you know. And like I said, I was really, 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 really like um I was really amped. I was really just ready to go. I really was trying to prove myself and really trying to, really do big things. And that's what happened. That's what I did. I really proved myself. And I was so excited. And like I said, we played a lot of games that year. We played about 80 games, maybe 77 games. So that year was just like a long year. Because when I got to Estonia, we played in three different leagues, So we played in the Estonian League, that was regular league. We played in the excuse me, Baltic League, which was three different countries. So I imagine getting on a bus, taking 6 hour trip to Latvia to go play a team, come back on the Tuesday. Like you play on a Tuesday night in the FIBA Cup, you play at home, and then Wednesday you get on a bus to go on a 6 hour trip to Latvia, come back, um, and play Thursday, and then you play Estonian game on Saturday, and then come back, you know, or you go switch it. You play a Estonian game on Thursday, and then on Friday you leave to go to a 9 hour trip to go to Lithuania and play a game, and then you come back. You don't get back to like 2 in the morning, and you got practice the next day. Da da da. It was just a grind because there was so many games, you know. And our coach was like making us practice. It wasn't like we was like not practicing. Like we was practicing, like really, really going through drills, really practicing hard. And like, it was just Estonia was part of the Baltic tip, so it was super cold, you know, super cold. And I'm just like, man, like like you have to drive through a blizzard, all that, just to get to a practice. And I'm just like, man, I'm missing home so much because of the weather out there. Because it was cool, but it was like -20, like -15. And I wasn't used to that. This is put like that. I wasn't used to that. So it was just like I said, it's a different situation. We had a mess load of games. My teammates was real cool. Mess load of games. Play like 3, 4 times a week, every week. Travel, come back. But it wasn't like private jet. It was like bus. So travel, come back, practice, game, So that year was just a super tough year. We got to the semifinals of the Baltic League, so we upset a team in the quarterfinals and got to the semifinals. And like it's like the best of no. In the first round, it's like just game at home, game away, and then whoever it's like a point differential, and then like the next series is like best of three, and then if you win that one, then you go to the final four. And that's pretty much what happened. We lost in the semifinals of the Baltic League. We lost in the next round of the FIBA Cup because that was all teams. Like the team that beat us, the Spain team, Marcus Hall's team, they ended up winning the whole FIBA Cup. So yeah, so that team, like we played them in the like quarterfinals, but we lost. And then, in the Estonian League, we played went to Estonian League, and then we ended up playing this team called Tartu Rock, which is like basically the rival of the team I was on, Kalev. And we had to play them in the finals. So we ended up losing them in 6, even though I thought we were the better team. We should have won. We lost. We lost 2 games. We lost one game literally at the buzzer at home, and then we lost game 3 at the buzzer at home, and then we lost game 2 by like 1 point after winning game 1. You know, we won game 1, lose game 2 by like 1 point, and then lose game 3 at the buzzer. So it was just like we were devastated. And then we come back and go to their house and win game 5. And then, we lost in game 6. But I thought that we were a better team even though we lost. We should have again. Like I said, we pull out game 2 and then we go up 2-1 and then we win game 3, we're up 3-0. Because like I said, we lose at the buzzer game 3 and then we lose game 2 by 1 point. So if we win game 2 and then we win game 3, we're up 3-0 and then they ain't gonna beat us because they're not gonna beat us 4 in a row. So, you know, uh, they beat us. Like I said, I was exhausted, super exhausted, by the end of the season. But I signed back for my biggest money I ever made, in my career the next year in Estonia. Um, and that was kind of like my last year, like of success, and was that last year in Estonia. Now, like I'll sum it up. That year was tough because I got injured. I got re-injured. So my leg was hurting bad, so I was overcompensating. So I had stress fracture in my other leg the next year. So I missed games, I missed games. I had a minor surgery. They took out the plate, they took out the rod out of my leg. And so I played the rest of the year with, like with nothing in my leg, just pain, So people don't realize this about, athletes. They do whatever they gotta do to play. So what I did was I was hooping to play. Like I said, I was pain pilling it up. I had all these pain pills, like 7, 8 pain pills to play every game. And we had a lot of games. So it was like, you know, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just, play through this pain. And then I just couldn't play through the pain anymore, because like I said, I was in and out of the lineup that year. I still was pretty good, even when I came back for the certain playoffs, I came back um, and tried to hoop and tried to play, play through the pain, and then I just couldn't do it no more. I should have because they wanted me to take like a epidural needle, not epidural, cortisone shot, Demerol, and I was like, I ain't doing that. I talked to my teammates and they was like, dude, don't do that. You have a career after this. Don't do it. And so I didn't do it. Maybe I should have because I didn't. The owners was mad at me because I didn't. The owners was mad at me because I didn't take the shot, so they didn't pay for my surgery. So you're not gonna pay for my surgery? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay for my surgery myself. So I paid for my own surgery. I paid for my own surgery, and yeah, I remember that. I paid for my own surgery because I just thought that like I paid for I got steel plates put in both my shins. I remember that was the surgery was like I don't know like 35, 40 G's, something like that. Because they didn't want to pay for it. They was like, well, we'll pay for it if you sign back. And I should have, to be honest. I should have just signed back. I listened to my agent and I didn't sign back because he was like, look, we're going to get you to, Italy or, somewhere different. I was about to sign a 2-year deal in Germany for like $400,000 or something like that. It was around that 2-year deal. And I'm back home because I didn't play in the finals. I go home. I'm sad because I'm like, I knew we were better, but I just, like I said, I had surgery on my legs. So after that happened, I just, um, Like after that happened, I just, came home like to kind of regroup my head, and then I started rehabbing. I was going, I had stitches in my leg, but I had to start, I had to take those out, whatever, because I didn't have insurance back in that crib, so I had to pay for this all offhand. So, like I said, I started rehabbing, and it was first day. First day I was about to play. First day I was playing pickup to rehabbing my leg, and I'm like, okay, I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So like this is the doctor said I'm cleared to try to hoop. So I'm playing pickup with my boy. We out there doing our thing. I'm feeling really good. A little pain, but like tolerable. And I remember like it was yesterday. I made a move. I crossed somebody over, and he was falling back. He fell, and he kicked me in my shin. And once he kicked me, I immediately knew something was wrong because I heard a pop, and it was like my legs swelled up. And he kicked me so hard that my shin cracked, my bone cracked all the way, my shin bone cracked all the way, almost basically in half. So it cracked damn near the whole bone. And so the plate wasn't there. The plate was already in there. The plate wasn't there, like it would have just cracked my bone. So I remember that, like I said, it was a situation where um I remember that, and I fell down to the ground. And my boy, my best friend Billy Knight, he took me to the hospital. I'm crying in the back because I'm like, my career's over, you know. And so, doctor was like, "Look, there's nothing we can do. You already have a steel plate in your leg, and there's nothing we can't do anything. You just got to let the bone heal." So I missed that season. You know, I missed that season. Now, like I said, like that whole year, that second year, I was just in and out of the lineup because of my injuries and stuff. Now, Estonia was just a great place because, like I said, it was really cool. Um, it was a really cool place. Like I said, you can go out every night, you can have fun and stuff like that. But it was obviously turned out terrible second year. I mean, I had a blast. My teammates, I was making a lot of money, just thinking like this ain't gonna end. You know, like I'm gonna really really start making a lot of money. Like the money was like, because I was making good money, good money, good money. Then I really started making a lot of good money, and then after that, you know, that happened, and that just when my whole life changed after I got injured. When I knew I wasn't going back overseas, everybody was gone. My boy Billy was back overseas, or my NBA homies was back. Earl was back in the NBA. Everybody was back in the NBA or overseas, and I'm just by myself. And here is my son's mom. She was right there trying to help me, you know. And she ended up getting pregnant, but I ended up missing that whole year. And it was just a situation where it just, was devastating to me. Devastating because, like I said, after that year, it was never the same. Never the same. Never made the same amount of money. I did come back and obviously play, but it was never the same. But like for those couple years, like those 6 years of hooping, I felt like I was the best player. So, um, yeah, I just wanted to give y'all like how it was overseas for me. And like I said, at that time we was in Estonia and we was in Holland. Now after that I played in Romania, I played in Ukraine, I played in Germany, I played in played in Australia. So yeah, there's just a lot. But like I said, the money was the same, wasn't the same. But it was blessing. Like I said, that was the time. So all right. Well, like I said, I wanted to give y'all, my story about my overseas journey. And like the first 6 years was basically my big six, my big 6 years. So um Yeah. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Holland. Shout out to NPC Capitals, Dunboss, and BC Kiev. Like those are my big three teams. Love y'all. Always will. And well, you can follow me. You know what I'm saying? So like, you can follow me at Travis W Reed for more content like this. That's REED. I mean REED. Travis W on Instagram and Facebook. I post all my social media stuff on there. Follow me. You can like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Travis Reed and Athlete's Journey. Just find that. And like I said, like, just subscribe to the channel. And keep looking out for some things more. I got some things in the fire. So got some, don't want to say that right now, but got some more things in the fire. But like, yeah, look out for your boy. Follow me and share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Or follow me at Travis W. Reed on Instagram, Facebook. All right. Peace.